I'll be going over my top 25. I forgot my headphones. Top 25 tips determined to be best by slots enthusiasts just like you. And of course, I'll be taking your questions because this is a live stream. I'm only saying that because, of course, people who are here live know it's a live stream, but you might be watching this after the fact. You might be watching the recording. Hello to you. Thank you for being here, and be sure to subscribe for notifications so you can have your questions answered the next time I do one of these. But either way, stick around and I'm sure it will be of value to you, but if you're watching this after the fact. But those of you who are here live, thank you so much. This is my first Thursday live stream, and I'll talk a bit about why and what you can expect in the future. But if you have a question, please use hashtag question with or without all caps. And that's so I can be sure to spot your question to me instead of comments in the live chat to each other. After all, this is also a community video where friends check in about how their slots play has been going lately. It's been that way for years, 2.5 years of live streams that I've done for this channel on Saturdays. And I don't have any recent experience on what to expect for picking a new day, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Sergio, Dalton, hey, Decal, howdy. So let me make sure you, when you have a question, use hashtag question. Okay, so, and hey, so we have a Saturday person here. That's wonderful. I figure what's going to happen is it's going to be kind of could be all new people because it's a different time of the week and a different time of the day, and some people can't get it. So, and thank you. And feel free to talk amongst yourselves. But if you're asking me a question, use hashtag question. Excellent. So let's get started without delay. Let's get started with through my top 25 tips determined to be best by slots enthusiasts just like you. Okay. Is there a way I can put this in here? Sure. Let me see if I can go through this and put it in myself. Does that work? One. All right. There it is. I may not cut and paste this every time. I'm trying some new features here. And so I will share this. Right. At a minimum, keep gambling records for annual income tax preparation, including date, location, amount spent. There's a fourth entry that the IRS has been asking for in the last couple of years, which is who did you go with or who were you with at the casino? I guess it's something like a confirmation of comparing records or something. Hey, Charles. And so I don't think I'll put all 25 comments in the live chat. Easy enough to say it out loud. Okay, so let me put that away. All right, so this is every one of these tips is quite a bit of detail in it. I gambling records are date of the casino trip, the casino that was gone to, the amount spent, and of course the amount won. These four things are what the IRS wants besides who you went with. But that's not enough. I mean, yes, that's what they want. And we can go into long conversations about win-loss statements and all of that. I'm sure you've been through that very recently because of this. But the gambling records also have gameplay analysis. And so if you do this minimum, it's surprising what you can see by looking back and seeing how much you won on days of the month earlier in the month, later in the month, on the weekend, during the week, and start comparing if you go that often. And this is what you're going to be finding is valuable, because when you do this, let me just make adjustments here. Okay. When you do this, a little better eye contact. When you do this, you start to see patterns in your slots play just jump right out at you. I found several of my slot strategies by looking at my own gambling records. Wow, the morning after Christmas day was or New Year's Day or Thanksgiving Day or Black Friday. I started pinning down what the process was, what's the strategies were. And this is this is good. I'm trying to keep track of everything that's going on here. Good. All right. Excellent. Starting to get some questions in. I'm glad. Now, so I'll move on from slots gambling records, but this is a deep topic. I have made presentations on this, hour-long presentations with answering your questions. I brought my CPA in to answer questions from a professional accountant's point of view. That was towards the live stream towards the end of last year. And I've made all my prior live streams, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, in a playlists for each year called basically 2022 live streams. And so you can find these now. Please be aware that I have changed a practice that I had followed for 2.5 years with putting the live chat, making the live chat available. And one of the changes, I'm wearing headphones so that apparently people were thinking that it was an uploaded video that was 2 hours long and not a live stream, because I wasn't wearing headphones. So, okay. Let's see. So ask your questions with hashtag question, and I'll interrupt the top 25 tips and try to answer them, particularly for people who are members of my YouTube membership, like Magpie 11 is. So that's important. I want to recognize Magpie. Right. So Magpie 11 says, I'm going to the Palms tonight. That just opened after a 2-year shutdown, right? They opened on the 27th last month. They have a new owner. They opened last Wednesday, and I was hoping to capitalize on timing. How would you start? 5-pull. Because of the popularity amongst casino operators for the 5-pull or 5 spin strategy, 5 spin method is so popular with my channel, I would try that just to see how they're doing, because it's not the only strategy to try, but it is one that is cheapest. And as you know from our discussions in the paid community in a couple of hours, we have our weekly group meeting, Zoom group meeting, and I have to remember to save my voice. But if you go with the 5 spin method, it gives you not only the method, but it also gives you an idea of how the casino's going. This, I'm sharing it with others, and I've talked about it in a prior live stream. So you can take and find out how it's going on that hour, on that day of the week. Even if you find out on a prior visit that the 5 spin method works, that they have tastes. Because as you know, as you've been so clear about understanding, how much you win from the 5 spin strategy can vary from day to day, or from morning to afternoon to evening. If there's the NFL draft that week in Las Vegas and they're shutting down Las Vegas Boulevard, the events that goes on at a casino or in the casino area, major football game, all that, baseball games, etc. That can change what the casino decides to do on it being on paying out for that. So. Okay. Uh, pardon me, I'm making adjustments here. It's a new loft studio setup that I put together yesterday. and But the next thing you'd want to do is to move to some of the other strategies. And you may be on a clock. You may have the first month of they're trying to establish themselves after a 2-year shutdown, as we've discussed. As if other people want to know about it, I know you've seen this, but if other people want to know about it, you can go to professorslots.com/ABC27 to see my interview with the ABC Evening News in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, about how their Penn National, which had been open for many years, only had high returns. Pennsylvania has returns, opposed to returns, monthly returns, and they were only good for the first month, and after that they just dropped, and never been that high again. So that's the sort of thing that would be awesome to check out, and your 5-spin method as a casino assessment would allow you to find out how long that lasts, because at Horseshoe Cincinnati, when it opened in 2013, it was in March. It was awesome for the rest of 2013. I got 54 hand bays in the last 6 weeks of the year there, and went to 7-star status in 6 weeks. And then the second year was good, but not as good. I got about 40 hand pays over the next 6.5 months in 2014, and you could still win, but it was harder. And then the third year, all my friends went into bankruptcy. I was starting to write my book at that point and decided, got to write all this stuff down, got to sort it out, got to start presenting this, maybe start a business, all that. And I missed the third year when the casino was just paying back their investors for being patient while they taught the local gamblers to win, to show them that they can win. And then the local gamblers just kept on playing when they started losing, because they thought it was all about luck, and it wasn't. It was about the casino having a plan. You need a plan too. And I appreciate your asking about that opportunity that the Palms is possible. I'm very interested in seeing, staying on top of it, and we'll talk later about, we talk often, and we'll talk later about what that resulted in. Okay, moving on. So I think we got other questions. Dalton asks a question. Keep gambling records. That's step number 1. Let's move to the next. But I'll go through a few of these questions because I'm glad to have the opportunity to answer so many questions. Excellent. We got plenty of people. I was wondering with the first live stream on a Thursday whether I'd get anybody, but YouTube doesn't lie. It said this was a peak time for people being on my channel, so good. Okay, Dalton has a question. Are you saying that the chances of winning are even better if you come back on the same day you won the next week and a little earlier than the previous time? That is one strategy. A casino doesn't have to do that. Each of my strategies is based on the casino setup. And if they don't have that setup, then the strategy doesn't work. So it's, you have to understand the strategy. You have to use the strategy correctly. But it's all on the casino. It's trying to manipulate you. It's trying to take your money, and there are counter strategies. I didn't want to get complicated and call my strategies actually counter strategies, which is your casino does this, you do that. You're taking advantage of the casino with these strategies. So it's a common strategy. I found it in several casinos, not every casino. Every casino seems to be just about 99% of them would be location, location, location. But for this one, which is win, walk away, return later, where later is 1 week later minus 5 minutes or 10 minutes and play through the same time period. That way you don't, this is a non-thinking sort of strategy. Just put it in your calendar, be there at that time. I found it hard to be there on time. Like I'd be like half an hour late and I'd be like, does it still matter? I think it does. So it is hard to actually go back 1 week later on the same machine, play through the same time period. And because something happened the first time, and the first time you saw a win, it doesn't have to be your hand pay. It doesn't have to be your win. They're doing something, and this is a non-thinking. You don't have to figure out what the casino practice is, setup is. All you need to do is just go back when you see something happen. Hopefully, it wasn't luck. It was the casino setup, and then you could take advantage of it by just being on that machine 1 week later, playing through the same time period. No thought, no fuss, no muss. Just and some of the other strategies talk about, well, check to see if they do this, check to see if they do that, and you can anticipate whether or not this other strategy will work. But usually there's only 3 of my strategies will work at a particular casino, 4 maybe. It depends on the casino operating system and what they've got set up. So, and that may be one of them. So go try it. I'd like to, go maybe 3 times, or go and 1 week later and play a machine that you saw or had a win on the week before 3 times. You don't have to win, and it's not going to be the same amount, but the idea here is that it's a winning machine. So whatever the casino is doing, don't worry about it. Go back at the same time and 1 week later and play that. Now, this gets more complicated. The more people think about it, they say, I don't want to come back in a week. I want to come back tomorrow. Will it work 1 day later? And I don't know if you've noticed, maybe you have. More and more of my fans are starting to look around in the casino, look up from the slot machine, make observations. And one of the things that they are seeing, what I noticed, was Mondays are not Tuesdays. They're pretty close. Fridays are not Saturdays. They're pretty close. But Wednesdays are not Thursdays, even though they're pretty close, and Mondays are nothing like Saturdays, right? Every day's got kind of a major difference. And so whatever was causing the win, if it wasn't fully luck-based, I mean, lightning strikes, right? And there is always a little bit of luck, but we're looking for casino plan. And so if you go to on a Tuesday and you see a win and you want to come back Wednesday, I'm less certain that whatever caused the casino to set it up that way would happen. It's more risky than I prefer. 1 week later is less risky and more likely to work, but it's not impossible for them to do it every day. It's just, that sort of thing gets abused and the casino notices, and so they shut it down pretty fast. But 1 week later, it's less noticeable, and so I want to give you the best chances of success. Okay, making sure that I am watching I don't want to say this, but I don't have a moderator. So I've figured out a way to sort of like keep an eye on comments. I apologize in advance for spammers. And remember, if you want to ask a question, please use hashtag question. I see a few comments, and people are talking about how well they've done at Blackhawk and other things. But it's great that you should celebrate. I also have 57 Facebook groups that you can join, and don't do it right now, and where you can post images. YouTube comments don't let you do images, so but Facebook does, and that's I have a Twitter account and I have an Instagram account, but it's not active. I mean, it's not something I use or check every day. 57 Facebook groups is enough, one for every state, plus my 18,000 plus member Professor Slots enthusiasts, and people put hundreds of responses, comments on that, on somebody posting. So if you have a picture, go ahead and post it on that channel. Okay, question. Many casinos offer free promo gifts such as luggage, kitchen equipment, etc. Should the value of these gifts be listed as the money received on your record-keeping sheets? Yes. Easy answer. It is income. And it's something called the fair market value. Just go to Amazon and see how much that cost, and then put it in as income. Now, I have, and that's one of the things that the IRS says that you can follow. Just go to the IRS.com and look up gambling deductions, and it'll take you right to an article and all of that. I have articles that have links to that and all of this. But my gambling templates, which I offer in my shop, professorslots.com/shop, or if you purchase the course, you get them free. And I updated them recently for 2022. When you do the date, casino, money spent, money won, I also have 2 extra columns on my simplest spreadsheet template, and which is complimentary gift description, complimentary gift value, and a dollar value. The medium and advanced record keeping templates, which I use the advanced one because I'm tracking a lot of other things. Like if you get a hand pay, what machine ID was it? What time was it? What comments do you want to make about that day at the casino? And then you can also separate out your results from one casino to another casino to see which casino is actually, over maybe 6 months or a year, is better for you. And so it's kind of a better return to player. So that's several things going on here with these. You can get a little advanced. Now, you don't have to have Microsoft. I'm not making a pitch here. I'm just saying you don't have to have Microsoft Office in order to be able to open Excel files. I also provide CSV files, which is a format that can be used with a lot of free software. And if that doesn't work, I make PDF printable versions, because the IRS doesn't care if it's handwritten. But lots of little slips of paper are harder to organize than printing a sheet that you fill out again and again and again if you go to a casino a lot. But the value of complimentary gifts is income. I have never had a problem putting that down. And most people don't either. I don't mean you. I mean most slots players who've never heard of me, because they lose. They are, you playing a hobby. They're enjoying themselves, and like getting a $10,000 bike to cycle with, or, motorized Harley Davidson, the hobbies are expensive, and people have gambling as a hobby, and they just say price of doing business, price of my hobby, and they don't worry about, they feel bad about not having money. But with me and a few others out there who have contacted me and saying, what are you doing telling everybody my secrets, now people are starting to win. and the casinos really don't care. If you've been following my channel, I'm not sure exactly how many people are kind of like can come to this time and not come to Saturdays, but my Saturday live streams for the last 2.5 years. But we have found out that once people start to win, a new thing happens. They have to have a new skill, getting out of the casino. And apparently it's quite hard. It takes a little bit of practice. You got to build a habit. You got to build some discipline into, how do you get out when, something exciting happens. I saw somebody talk about having a $37,000 hand pay. I won't ask how much of that did you get out of the casino, because I had a $27,000 hand pay myself, and I did manage to get out with, well, more than $15,000. and I used that price, the cost, to teach myself a few things, and probably save myself more than that in the long run. And that's what you want to do. So, get comps have value, and you put that in. But the point is, for most people, not you guys, I hope, for most people, it doesn't matter, because they spend more money than they win, including comps, including the income from comps. So it's still a write-off. Of course, you have to have gambling deductions and all of that, but so it's less of an issue than you might think. Sergio, in California, casinos do not disclose any financial information. How do you approach a casino where the 5 pool seems difficult to work, since I keep getting below 40% every time I go and check? Right. It doesn't work. It doesn't. If you go in, you know that the 5 spin method has a check, a test to see if they have it. It is not 0. It is 50%. On 50% of the machines, if you win anything at all in the first 5 spins, you move on. But if you do 20 machines and only 10 of them, or less than 10 of them, come back with a win of any amount, 0 on up, in the first 5 spins, it doesn't have the 5 spin strategy. So give it up. I mean, check once every 6 months to see if they get it. But, and if you want to be thorough, check to see at different times of day. You can still kind of use it to have an assessment if it goes up to 70% and goes down to 20%, but it's still not a strategy. It might still be an assessment tool, but it's not a strategy to win money using the 5 spin method. And we can wish that it was, but again, it's, this is the change people have to make to their slots play. It's too many people think it's entirely on them, because the casino says so. You win a hand pay and they say, well, good luck. You're lucky. I'll see you next time. And it's like, no, you let me win. Not personally, but they've set it up so that a few people win randomly, random people, and at certain hours to keep everybody happy. And when you understand the casino setup, you can use it. But if they don't have it, they don't have it. So I would give it up and start working on some other method. We could wish it was there. But check back. I always talk about reassessing a casino every 6 months, every year, and more often if there's something like happens, an expansion, or they build another building, or there's a new owner, not the tribal casinos, of course, in California. So yeah. And so if you keep getting below 40%, move on. We can only wish. Let me see. There's a question. Yep. Use question across the bottom, and otherwise I think you're talking to somebody else in the live chat. So Charles asks a question. Fairmount Park in Collinsville, Illinois is opening their slot machines soon. This is a racetrack. Sounds like the park usually means racetrack. It is run by FanDuel, Sportsbook, and horse racing. Yep, horse racing. Yep, 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 yep. Yep. Do you have any information on FanDuel? Uh, no. I mean, it would be interesting to go to the website and see if they have a players club, right? It would be interesting to see if they have any other casinos. You know, there's always up and comers. There's also like Penn National. You know, what's that? Oh, they're the ones that own Hollywood Gaming. Oh, yeah, somebody. You know, Boyd Gaming. How many casinos do they have? If it's a factor in your thinking, you know, uh, you can find out. Now, I do have questions about Illinois. This Fairmount Park. Uh, it may not have slot machines. One of the things that's kind of happening, particularly in Illinois, I've been contacted by these companies that are supporting small convenience store slot machines being put in and helping Texacos and truck stops get set up to have 5 machines. And it's becoming widespread. It's looking, you know, each state by state, there's sometimes a loophole. Like, for instance, in some states, it's not a crime to have illegal slot machines in a convenience store or truck stop. The police just come and cart them away, which is a fine business deal for the owner if they more than make up for the cost of that machine, and they just go buy another one. It cuts into their profits, but they make money. And so FanDuel, you know, it sounds like a sports book that might be branching out into something else. And find out if it's owned by Churchill Downs, because the reason why I say it might not be slot machines is because HHR machines, historic horse racing machines, which are in Kentucky, which does not allow slot machines, has them all over the place. It's using pari-mutuel, that's horse racing or dog racing or people racing. It's oddly enough, there's a high ally is a game run by people, and it's a kind of like a tournament, and that is also another way to use pari-mutuel regulations. And they're installing those machines and just saying it's horse racing on a machine. Many horse races in each press of the button, maybe 30, and randomly selected and put in. So if you watch for that, you know, check to make sure that it's not historic horse racing, because then you need, you know, like I say, what are the rules for horse racing? And is this in Chicago area? Because the reason why there were no casinos in Illinois within the Chicago area before the bars and taverns got them was to protect horse racing, so they wouldn't have a competitor. And so the other thing that you can do is go to you know, see where it's located. I'm sorry, I don't have a Collinsville, but not sure where that's at. In which case, you know, it is horse racing. I'd be very concerned about whether it's historic horse racing, because, you know, then you have to just learn more about how historic horse racing works and what the casino setups might be, and all of that. That's the first thing you need to ask. Is it historic horse racing and not slot machines? It's a difference. It's like having a strategy for bingo games, class 2 bingo games in Oklahoma and other tribal casinos that sometimes have them. They don't all have them. And versus slot machines, class 3 slot machines. And that's, you know, two different games. You need to know what game you're playing. Keith did not put a hashtag question in, but last year I went to 3 casinos, Coshada, Delta Downs, which I understand was recently renovated. They took down the plastic floor to ceiling walls and opened it up, but I understand it's pretty messy. It's pretty sticky. And all of that, sticky slot machines and, butts full of cigarette butts on the ashtrays. But at least they're trying to make an effort to have location there, because when I was there, they didn't, and I was astonished. 2 casinos in the United States that I found that don't have that one method that you can use. So now they might be starting to have that. And so if you go to and I also went to Kashada. That has location like gangbusters. Um, it was pretty funny. I went with, I don't think Jan's here. Went with Jan to one of my earliest fans. I went last year. We went to 3 casinos. Started at the Golden Nugget, stayed there. It's really tight, and didn't have the 5-pool method, but the location worked great at Kashada, and that's the 3 casinos along with Louisiana Downs we went to. And we were walking through. First thing you do is new to you casino, you walk through it, and I pointed out how the machines are obviously centered and pointed at interesting areas where people gather. And we were walking through it, and I said, I pointed up the small entrance, to this high limit room, not the wide entrance. The wide entrance has also got a machine that's kind of like pointing out over the casino floor, but the small entrance is kind of pointing out into a more interesting area, which is where all the table game players are. It's narrower, but it's there. And so if you go to and I pointed up that small ramp, and I said, that machine or that machine on the end of that row, it's right there, properly placed to be for anybody to see it way out. Why it's elevated a little bit so you can see it from a distance. And we finished our walk through of the casino, and I said, okay, now let's go back to some of these things we talked about, maybe play for a little bit. We did that, and we made our way back to that second smaller entrance up the ramp to the high limit room. And what do you know? Somebody was getting a hand pay. It was like the one hand pay we saw in like 2-3 hours of being there. Just like, see? So yeah. Hi, Sally. You've changed your name to Sugar Moon Garden. Wonderful. Okay, so I don't see any hashtag question marks, any hashtag questions, and please use those, because there's a lot of cross conversation, which I appreciate, between everybody. And if you don't use hashtag question, and hopefully all caps, I can't see you have a question. So let's half an hour into it, and I'll do my second top tip, and I will take a moment and let's see, I can do this here, and yeah, sure, okay. All right, so tip number 2. Join your casino's players club for the benefits of complimentary gifts and invitations to promotional events. Now, once again, this tip has all kinds of subtleties. A lot of people are concerned about using a player's card. It's not anything serious. I mean, it's not anything real. I shouldn't say serious. It's real. It's not real. But people are very concerned, and I can appreciate that. So don't use it. And then you're not concerned anymore. The people that I've spoken with about being concerned about using a player's club card while playing get a little hysterical, sort of. and I'm just like, it obviously bothers you. If you think that it's causing you to lose, don't ever use your player's club card again. I mean, it puts more responsibility on you for keeping gambling records because you don't get a win-loss statement, but you can't use a win-loss statement if it just tells you the difference between wins and losses, and it doesn't tell you your wins and losses. It just tells you the difference. The IRS is just like, that's useless to us. They'll do their own subtraction. Thank you very much. They want the wins and the losses, and you can do that with gambling records. And you might lose out on that if the players club actually does give the wins and the losses and not just the differences like most do. Puts a little bit more of a burden on you, but you got complete assurance that they don't know who you are when you don't use a card. And you might say, well, what about facial recognition? And I'm sorry, they don't recognize your top of your head with the surveillance. The only reason facial recognition works on ATM machines is they don't use facial recognition. They take your picture and then they post it. Have you seen this man? If it's a thief, so you have to have the camera like right here, right there, right there. and so don't use a player's card, then you deal with the consequences. There's also more to that. Like, what about invitations to promotional events? The casinos use this to get you there, but it's good to know when there's a promotional event so you can go after it, a morning after perhaps. And there's a whole strategy about how to do that. This is a way to get the invitation so that when you check afterwards for this winning strategy. And I have to do it a couple of times to see if it's active, if that's part of their casino setup. And then just, if it works, roll with it. I hope you like getting up at 4 a.m. Let's see. Questions? Let me see. I want to make sure I didn't miss any. Yep. And okay. Yeah, that's Charles. That's one possibility. I have my suspicions. Oh, Charles mentions that it's about 10 miles from St. Louis, Missouri, and it's pretty amazing. Illinois has a relationship with across the river. Riverboat casinos, and I know you're talking about a park, but when you go to one side of the river, and Illinois has the rules that the riverboat casinos have to be closed for 2 hours a day, usually around 6 to around 8 in the morning, and and Indiana was like, "Oh, we don't have that rule. Come on over to our place and stay." It's almost like it's competitors, which you can use to your advantage. But there's other places, like there's a casino, Leia. I know it doesn't look anything like the word ILANI in the state of Washington, which is far, far away from any other casino in the state, or Hard Rock Tampa. And when there's no competition, like Penn National in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, when there's no competition, it's not a great deal. It's not a good thing for players. Because casinos know it. Cindy 2022 has a question. Do any of your strategies work at the small casinos where you're basically playing bingo? NASCALA. If you want to check in with my Texas Slots Enthusiasts Facebook group, ask Jan. I was just telling you about Jan. She was someone who was going to Louisiana casinos, but she's since switched to, guess what? NASCALA. So that's where she goes, and you can ask her how it was last night. She just sent me 3 days ago a $25 tip because she won her biggest win so far on those machines. So she has a few ideas. It's not all of them work, but a lot of them are. I mean, some of the strategies are based on you know leaving with your winnings and loss limits and other things which do work, and it's more of a money management technique that where you can save money by doing certain things. And so she has found a way. She's been struggling with it because, it's bingo and it's a different setup. It's better than HHR machines in my experience, but there's all kinds of things that you can do with slot machines, class 3 slot machines. So she has found a way, and talk with her about it. You can also come to the Saturday. She's usually at the Saturday live stream and just chat in the live chat about it. You could see some of her comments in the last live stream. I think I made the live chat available starting the last live stream, not the one before that. And just zoom through the 2 hour long live stream and look for Texas Tootsie, TXTOOSIE, and that's Jan, and she goes to NASCAR. Her son lives near there. Let's see, Steve. Hey, Steve. And where's my mouse? Come back, mouse. Why is my mouse not working? And what the heck is... connected. Thank you. Sometimes I let my mouse... I don't have a backup mouse, and I'm like, oh, my goodness. So, sorry, Steve, you're next. Elane. I just learned how to say... How does it go? Yamaha? No, that isn't it. Oh, no, I've forgotten already. Yama something. Okay, so Ladale Martin, question. Games such as Buffalo may have 3 to 4 machines in a row with the same progressive jackpot. Does it truly matter which machine to play? Look at the progressive jackpot. Does it have the same number? Does it change at the same time? Because you're asking if they're networked together, and they're networked together if they have the same number and it increases together. And so I have a progressive slot machine strategy that you can look at. Our video website, you can search for that, and or just email me and I'll send you the link. And so that detail is important, whether they're standalone, which a lot of them are, or are they all connected? And then you have certain options which are possible for the progressive jackpots, but a lot of the wins on those machines aren't the progressive jackpots. I know we're all very, excited about progressive jackpots, but there's also the straight up line win. And so there are rules for progressive games when there's more than one machine on that network, which can limit some of my strategies. But if it's a standalone, no. So these are all, look and see what's going on, and know what you're working with. I think that's... So yes, it would matter which one you play if they're... it would matter which one you play if you're trying to win the progressive jackpot when the progressive jackpot is the same on all the machines in the row. Under those conditions. But otherwise, other wins do matter. Okay. Question. Steve. Here we are, Steve. All right. Steve says, John, Can slot machine be set to pay more on lower bets and rather than on max bets, or is the payback set from the casino central server? Well, the paybacks except at riverboat casinos for infrastructure reasons. If I'm, pardon me if I use that word, uh, riverboat casinos don't have a central server because they can't. They don't have walls, they don't have floors, they have hulls, and if you punch through it, you sink. Well, sometimes I say things really succinctly, and so, but excluding those, and there's going to be fewer and fewer riverboat casinos because they mostly move to land when the state laws allow for it. The payouts are assigned from the central server on a schedule, and so you're trying to anticipate that schedule by maybe coming back a week later and playing 5 minutes earlier on the same machine, that sort of thing. But can the odds be? We always knew that lower bets were different from higher bets when the difference was changing the denomination. That's what we have state return statistics that say it's this kind of return for this denomination and this kind of return for this denomination. But if you're talking about how many credits were bet, fewer credits at the same denomination as maximum credits, same denomination. That is something that I'm finding is true. I I haven't posted it. I haven't, put it out there as, watch for this. I have found it in 3 of the 5 casinos that I've gone to, and lately, and I'm like, I never thought to look for that. How interesting. But it needs to be, look into it. The way I try to explain this is I'm trying to teach you to fish. I'm not trying to give you fish. I mean, sure, today we'll go through or try to go through 25 um, of my top tips, which is basically 25 fish. But each one of them has subtleties, so you have to sort of put some thought into it and understand the different subtleties of what's going on with tax return, with it, gambling record keeping, and um, uh, going to promotional events. So keep thinking about what's going on. I have been finding a difference between minimum bets and maximum bets with the same denomination, and I was astounded to see that. I thought there was a test procedure for slot machines that would make it the same odds, at least for that. And if they had it, I'm pretty sure they did, it's gone. So these are the sort of updates that can happen. Yeah. Dalton says, can you go over the 5-spin method again briefly? Make 5 bets on a machine. Stop if you win anything other than 0. So it might be the first bet. Move to a next machine. Make 5 bets, but stop if you win anything at all. And then see if your casino does this. Again, it's about the casino having this setup. So do it on 20 machines. Do minimum bets on 20 machines. I was appalled when I first mentioned this, and somebody said, that's right, I'm going to go to the high limit room and I'm going to blow $500. And I'm like, find a slot machine that has a 5-cent bet and spend $5, please. And yeah, so I guess we're all gamblers, and gambling happens. But I'm just like, hey, cringing. Test it, see if the casino has it, and if they do, if it doesn't have a good payout, if it ends up being like the same that you spent. Well, actually, it depends on your goal. I mean, if you wanted to get into the Players Club, a higher tier, this is cycling your bankroll, and you don't lose money, and you don't make money, but you don't lose money, and so you can go and go and go and go and go and bring up your rank, your tier level. But that has to be your goal. Or if you make less money, then I have a bonus method where you can use location to kind of like only play machines that are likely to have better payouts. And so you can start combining two of my strategies. And so, this is advanced stuff. This is pretty much all we talk about in the Slots Enthusiast Growth Network, which we're having a meeting later today, and I did take a sip of water. So my voice doesn't give out. And that's, they've all had the course. Most of the people have had the course, and they talk about, how do we combine this and combine that? And it can get kind of thrown in the deep end of the pool pretty fast. Okay. Question. Davina. Question. I go to WinStar in Oklahoma. What was that Texas group to join? You can join the Oklahoma group, Oklahoma Slots Enthusiasts. I have one for every state, but there's also Texas Slots Enthusiasts. That's what it's called, Texas Slots Enthusiasts. If you want to see all the ones for the different states, you can go to professorslots.com/FB. It lists all of them. And then you can click on the ones that you want. You have to be approved, and I'll check my emails after the live stream is over and approve all the people who are not killer robots or something. Let's see. As interesting as it is to you, your husband won $1,900 this past Saturday at Hot Springs, Arkansas casino. Thank you for sharing with us. A lot of us do. And Sally, yes, this is a new thing going live on Thursday. This is the first. It still is weekends after 2.5 years. So let me just make that announcement, and I'll do that now. Let's see. Right. So I've been having live streams on YouTube for 2.5 years. It's hard to believe it's been that long. Weekly. There's been a few holidays, and I think one time in January and February I didn't have any. And otherwise, this is my 113th live stream. I counted. But this is the first time I've held a live stream which wasn't on the weekend, wasn't on Saturday. And so now I'm holding it on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time because not everybody can make Saturday. Yes, it's at noon now. For a little while there early on, it was at 2 p.m. And people were like, I'm out and about. I've got things to do. I can't be here on a Saturday. And so they never had a chance to be in the live stream. And so I looked at my statistics on YouTube, and it said a lot of people watch your content at this time, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time. It isn't the most popular time. The most popular time is midnight to 2 a.m., but that ain't happening. And besides, they wouldn't even be able to hear me in the casino. So yes, I'm not going to do one in the middle of the night. And I can't think of a reason why I would. So I started this as my very first weekday live stream because there's just so many questions. As you can see in the live chat, there's just so many questions. How many comments have we had so far? I think I can look at that. Analytics. Yes, I've had. No, I don't have that. Okay. All right. So something like 120 comments. And with that much interest, I wanted to reach out to more people. And you may, if you've been to any of my live streams, you might have noticed that I haven't had a commercial about my online course. I'm trying to be very sort of soft sell instead of hard sell. If that makes sense to you about this. So in other news, in 2021, I focused on making useful products like my online course, like my paid community, regular emails, and a few other things, free things as well as paid for things, gambling record keepings, templates, and all of this. Why? Because I had a boost in my traffic in December 2020. Saw massive traffic on YouTube. It doubled and then doubled again and doubled again in 9 days in December. And they all came, a large number of people came to my website, and they looked around, checked under the rug, nothing. I had articles, but I didn't have like products to sell or merchandise or any of these other things. And so I realized that before I started growing major traffic, it didn't stop, but I didn't focus on it. I needed to start putting together a customer journey, products, free and paid for, to be convenient and helpful to you. I did that last year. I still continue to do it, but it is now in place. So now you don't even know what it's like for me to make videos if you haven't been to my channel for more than a year. I put out 30 videos outside of live streams last year. I mean, I did that in 2 months this year so far, and it's I've done twice as many this year so far as I did all of last year. And so it's getting much better, much faster, and the numbers are going to start climbing and all of that sort of thing. So now is the time, once they start saying, what else you got? How can you help me? What's going on? And so what's coming in 2022 is a lot more videos, a lot more live streams to help people. And let's see, we have more questions. Sergio says we should all get together, reception in Vegas, and test a few casinos there. 4 of my fans went the week before last. So we sort of had one, and turns out that was the week before the NFL draft. And apparently the week before the NFL draft is not a good time to go, unfortunately. But then on the other hand, Steve, who's here, didn't meet up with that group. He had a wonderful time. And so you have to kind of know the city, and you have to have a little bit of experience. Often what happens at Las Vegas is and I'm sure you know this, is you learn a lesson the first time you go, which you pay for, and then you because it doesn't just stay in Vegas, and the second time you go, you're much better off. It's I tell new people to slots, I say, I hope you lose first time you play, because if you win, it sets up a unrealistic expectation of how hard it's going to be to win, and you need to have that first loss to properly calibrate. So I hope you win the second time you go to a casino. Yeah, but that does sound fun. Pam says, I'm going to Vegas in a couple of weeks during the week. Do you, the better odds are better at that time? Yeah. As long as there's not like 4th of July falls on what day, if it's in the middle of the week, then it's a holiday and they treat it like a weekend. So what's going on is and you could, I had an article, a video recently about when to go to Las Vegas and when not to, and it's basically go not on the weekend, and exclude Friday through Monday, Friday afternoon through Monday morning, exclude those times. If you go and that's the only time you're going, just be careful, be very conservative in your bets, and be careful. But during the week, people who have gone during the week won, and then they came up upon Friday, and it was like hitting a wall. And they contact me and they say, "What's up with that?" And I said, "You didn't see my article. You didn't see this." So the video that I posted on this like a week ago has comments from people saying, I see that I do that. I'm a local, or I travel and I see this, and they give all this confirmation, like within like a couple of hours of the video being posted. Um, Another question: when someone leaves money in a machine, can people get in trouble for playing it or cashing it out? I have heard that this money belongs to the casino once the player walks away. Yes, it's not your money. Now, there may be an exception in a casino where they'll let you do it, but do you really want to take that chance? You don't. So it's like you and your spouse having the same player's club card. Can you both use it at once? Well, the casino recognizes that the same card is in two separate machines on both on different sides of the casino at the same time. So if they wanted to, you know, do something, they can do that. That's easy. But some casinos, it doesn't matter. Other casinos, like Newport Gaming in Kentucky, in Newport, it's on the Ohio River, they have a note on the card saying, "This is not to be shared. If you do, we'll give you a lifetime cancellation of any player's club card at our casinos." And they're owned by Churchill Downs. So that means no casino in most of Kentucky. And Churchill Downs is expanding their business of HHR machines to other states. So this could have wide-ranging results, but not every casino. Other casinos, they're just like, I'm fine with that. Go ahead. And so just make sure you check with your casino and what to do. It's case by case. Yeah. I don't like doing something where the worst could happen. Hauled off, gone off to tribal jail at a tribal casino. Because it happened to be true at that casino. It's not your money. Don't use it. Just to stay on the straight and narrow. Lots of questions among other people. It's a time for me to do a third. Sheila, I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody else. James, again, a hashtag question mark. Fine, James. Do you see that? That's a row of 3 degrees. All right. You see those 8 degrees, 8 college degrees. Yes, I'm an engineer. I consider myself a physicist because that is the degree that came first. One of those degrees is a math degree. I was employed for 20 years as an aerospace engineer. I made jet engines, or rather, I inspected them using ultrasound. I was a world leader in that. 2020, I was laid off, mostly because companies, the big companies have gotten rid of their research areas. I was practical. I was helpful. I was paying for myself and 52 others with government contracts that only I could write, and they decided to get rid of me. And it's a sad story, but I apparently smile a lot more now. Anyway, question from Mr. Neal. I've just got your program and started working through it. Have you been to Oak Grove, Kentucky? Also, any advice for gambling in Kentucky? My advice is check with the Kentucky Slots Enthusiast Facebook group. There are a couple people. I created all these groups so that you could talk to local slots enthusiasts who went last night. I haven't been to Oak Grove. I've been to Derby City, a Red Mile, and I think there was Newport Gaming. I wrote up Newport Gaming. It's an article on my website, and just search for Newport and gaming, and you'll see it. Newport Gaming Casino Report, something like that. So or trip report, but Location works well. Play a slot machine on the end of a row next to the bar. It doesn't make a lot of money, but I cycled $300 for 3 hours, and it slowly went away, and that was a lot of fun. I haven't found a way to win. I found a way to sort of, like, break even, pretty much, and that's what others who do this regularly there, have found. And it's not every machine by the bar, it's 1, maybe 2, and you need to find which one. It's likely to be the one that's occupied because other people have figured this out too, and the ones that are empty are not the ones that you're looking for. That's should help get you started. Okay. There's other machines in the casino, but, uh, if nobody can see you win, not that one. That was my experience in Kentucky. Yeah, I got balloons from, Jan, who I was telling, when I had my 100th live stream. The box that was delivered by, UPS, um, they handed it off to me, and they said, "This feels pretty light." And being a physicist, I understood that when I opened it up and I saw the helium-filled balloons, that it was actually lighter than the box. Yeah, let's see. Questions. Uh, I guess I asked you, James, I have been a student for 25 years. That and overlapped about 5 years because I got a degree in the evening, my Master's of Science in Engineering Management while working. And then 20 years of being an aerospace engineer in inspection technologies, working with the Air Force and the government. Most of my projects towards the end there were on artificial intelligence. But they're shrinking. There's only 5 companies in the United States that need an expert like me. One wasn't hiring. A second one was where I'd worked previously and the new management. A third one is still kind of like waiting to let me know. And two other, and I don't want to say Rolls Royce, but Rolls Royce engines weren't hiring. And a hiring freeze, and I think there was like a fourth one, and I started looking out into research institutes and some other things, and there's a oh, anyway, it was fun. I had an interview at the company. It's a organization, an institute that's funded by the U.S. government, by the Air Force or the space program, and I made a joke when I was there because I looked up the place and I said I used GPS from the airport in the rental car to find the place that made GPS. There was a military project for missile launches, keeping track of where missiles were when they were launched back in the 50s. And I thought it was pretty funny to use GPS to find a place that made GPS. It kind of cracked a smile, but I may have told the joke and then not gotten the job because of it. And my third career is Professor Slots. I did this as like a hobby for 5 years, and I tell you, as hard as I worked, full time on it while having a full time job, there is a difference between then and now. Now I'm much more focused. Pays the bills, or almost. um, Questions? Sorry, Sally, I didn't see a question there. GPS to find GPS, right? Does that sound like a physicist or not? Now, when I date, I try not to tell them I'm an engineer because they say, "Oh, I know what that is," and I'm like, "Do you?" But by then it's too late. They've already made all kinds of assumptions. Alex, question: gaming statistics. 5-cent machines has the best win percentage. 5-cent machines have the best win percentage in downtown Nevada in February. Is that what you mean? Does that mean I have to choose a 5-cent option instead of the 1-cent option on slot machines? Uh, okay, so if we look at the 20, no, how many is it? 19. No, if we look at the 6 US states, there's 19 US states that have return statistics that you're talking about. 6 of them have return statistics by slot machine denomination. All of them say penny machines are the worst. All of them. There was 1 month in Colorado where it wasn't, like an exception was made for one time. So yeah, in states that don't have return statistics, 1 cent is the worst game to play, according to the gaming statistics. You just take that as, an excellent assumption. Now, that I used to say, never play a penny machine because of that reason, but there's so many of them. They're starting to be switched out by multi-denomination machines, and they're about equal number in a lot of places that record the values of how many they have of each, so anyway, the 1 cent is still the worst. But the thing is, there's many of them. There's so many of them that you can find exceptions. If you use my strategies, you make observations, you look for what the casino setup is, and you test it, and then you find out it works. That means you can play penny machines despite the low odds, if they have end of row or the morning after, or whatever strategy that you're trying. Location, and then it's okay because they have so many. But the average return, which is all we don't get the return on a single slot machine, we get the return on a single denomination in 6 states, and those 6 states won't tell us, will only tell us the average. And if it's an average of 10,000 machines in the state or in the casino or in the region of Mississippi, we need to find the outliers. They're not all set to that. They're just on average. And that is our wiggle room. That is our window of success. Okay. Sheila, have you ever cashed out after 5 spins and put the money back into the same machine? Yes, I have a YouTube short. I think it's called "Why Did I Keep Playing?" I'd have to look it up. If you want to email me at john@professorslots.com, I'll send you that link, or you can just look in what's called the short shelf for one of my earlier videos in YouTube, and it would be the one where like, why did I keep playing? Yeah, I've done that. Sure. It's, the last 2 shows, Saturday shows, have last one was about loss limits, and the one before that was about preserving gains. And preserving gains, we all have difficulties with that. I was mentioning it earlier. We have a lot of difficulty doing something new. And those of you that have started to win because of my strategies look at and take my course or watched all my videos. It's so much more convenient to take the course. Besides, the homework is where it's at. Anyway, don't get me on my rant about homework is valuable, but it makes all the difference. Trying really hard not to get distracted. We have to learn a new experience of preserving our gains, getting out of the casino with our winnings. It's very new to some of us because now we're winning. But loss limits were something we started thinking about the first time we went to a casino. Just think back. First time you went to a casino, you lost money, and for most people. And, right then we're just like, wow, we got to do something about this. Right. And so We've been practicing loss limits since the beginning. May not have had success at it, but it is not a new thing. As I tell people, I know how to lose. It's winning that I have a problem with. I get excited. I forget my plan. I won on my 5-spin method when I first learned of it, and I was just like, "Oh," the look on my face. Yeah. Um, so, question to you: do you tip the person that brings your payout to you? I do. Um, I make it convenient for myself, so it's easy to do. I give $20. Why? Because I might not have $10 or $5 or $15 or $50. I will have a 20, even if I have to have them break $100 bill. Then I have a 20. Now, to be fair, I give $20 to the slot attendant who gives me the hand pay, but there's also a verifier. And the verifier I give $20 to as well. Again, I have a bill. And if I need one, then I can take that $100 bill and have them break one right there. That's what I do for under $10,000. If it's over $10,000, I give each of them $100. Now, this is hard. I give $100 bill to the slot attendant who does the hand payout, but there isn't a slot attendant for verification. It's a floor manager because it's over $10,000. So I asked them, can you put this in the tip jar in the slot attendant's break room or something? You know, they can't accept a tip, but I asked them, can you put this somewhere? You know, where, what you can do. Yep. When you win $10,000, $100 doesn't seem, yeah. A little bit distracted here. My apologies. Dalton, I see you have a online class to educate players. Yeah. Do you teach that class directly or is it all self-taught? It is self-taught. You can take it at any time. You can take that 30-day class in probably about 4 days if you wanted to spend like 8 hours a day. You couldn't really do it faster because some of the homework is to actually go to the casino and look for the first time perhaps at for certain things to understand. So the first course, which is only course I have right now, is self-taught. The second course, which probably won't be this year, but next year, will be for people who have taken the first course. And we'll start talking about combining strategies to get the best of both. And that will be self-taught, where it'll be 6 weeks long, maybe 7. I'm trying to figure out how best to have each day. Sometimes people can't make the first session, in which case then there becomes 5, and it's complicated. So 6 course days where you have to spend maybe 2 or 3 days to get ready for a course, and then we meet for an hour and we go over that week and answer questions and talk about stuff and really sink in the lessons of that week and answer any questions. That is planned for next year. This only last year did I launch my first course. So yes, it's self-taught, and the next one would be to have a not an in-person, but like a Zoom meeting. Now, with advanced topics, that course, if you are interested in it, I think I might still, if you sign up at professorslots.com/ free guide, then you'll be on the email list and you'll hear all about it. It will not be quiet. Hashtag question: what area other than Vegas has a high percentage of casinos? Southern Florida. It depends on what you mean by a casino. Southern Florida doesn't have that many casinos, but they have arcades with used slot machines. And I have a audience member in near Tampa who has 20 years of law enforcement, and he's trying to figure out in the it's not the gaming regulations, it's in the state laws. How are these places open? What is it sweepstake raffle sort of, how have they wedged themselves in, or are they completely illegal? And these arcades are everywhere. I would see, and Tennessee is like forbids slot machines, but every Texaco 24 hours a day has a line for the 5 machines, and every Texaco and every truck stop has these, and those are illegal, but they're not enforced. Not, they don't go around and arrest people. They don't take them away, and so therefore they keep going. So if you're talking about official casinos, California has the most. Oklahoma has a second. Is it? No, Nevada has the most. California and then Nevada has the most. Oklahoma has a second. I counted 108, but a few of them are tribal casinos. That's a shack behind a gas station, Gasinos it's called. So I stopped counting when it got down to that level, but I got to 108. Nevada has, I think, like somewhere around 169. It almost changes daily. And then about 60, 70 in California, not including card rooms. And that's the top 3. Do you travel a lot to test your slots tactics? Alex asks. I didn't when I wasn't making money last year. Well, I did a few times last year. Mostly I had to get the word out. Mostly I had to, begin to write this stuff down and explain it, because I learned it at casinos. So basically I took a break from that. Now I'm living off my savings while my income from the course and from YouTube slowly increases. So I've decided that I decided what early last year that I would learn more about spending $300 for a bankroll, not $3,000 like I personally like to do, and then just travel. So you'll find something like 10 casino trip reports on my website, some of them with YouTube videos, particularly the most recent ones. It's the ones where I'm photographing myself in a car. One I had to stop halfway through and shut down my camera because security was nosing around. I wanted to know where all the lights were coming from inside my car, my fogged up windows car. And so that's something I want to do on a regular basis. But again, it is a matter of being able to fund both the travel and the $300 bankroll. Sometimes, I figure out how to win. Sometimes I don't figure out how to win. I write it all up, and sometimes I break even, but it's still expensive and it still takes time. On the other hand, there are 50 casinos within about 50, not 50, like 100 miles from where I live. So sure, yeah, that's completely possible. I'm not like in Tampa, Florida, where there's just like one. So yeah, I do travel, not as much as I'd like. It gets interrupted a lot, but of course, I see a hashtag, but I don't see a question. I assume. Oh yeah. Have you ever been greeted with overt or passive aggressive hostility by casino workers who know you're not the average slots player? That's fraught with difficulty. Do you mean they know who I am? I don't wear my logo on my shirt. I go where I'm not I go where I'm, dressed down, unshaven, uh, kind of like dumpy clothes because I don't want attention. And so no one's ever. I met the general manager. I won a car, no, actually before I won the car, I saw my host introduced me to somebody who was all dressed up, and she was the general manager for Belterra Park before it was bought by Boyd Gaming, and it was owned by Pinnacle at the time. And a little bit before I won the car, and she's like, I've heard so much about you, and I wanted to thank welcome. And I'm just sitting there going, I should have shaved, and maybe I could have worn a button-down shirt. It was pretty impressive to meet the senior executive staff at the casino. But no, they've never given me problems. The reasons why is it has to be provable. And it's not easy to get past it has to be so provable that it has to get past people's assumptions that no, there's no such thing. So there are keywords, James, that aren't allowed, and you would be surprised by some of them. No, I don't dress average. I dress down. Okay. I don't look like a criminal. I look like less than average. When I, winning $10,000 hand pays or winning a car, because I felt, I'm from Flint, Michigan. Look it up. It's like Detroit, only bad. As I tell my students, and no. You're welcome. Feliz Cinco de Mayo. Absolutely. Belated, May the 4th of May be with you. May the 4th be with you. Alex, question, no question. Just want to thank you for your Palms Casino tip. I won $1,000 my last day in Vegas. Congratulations. Brad says, and I want to thank everybody for so far a successful live stream. I very much appreciate it. Let's keep on going with the questions. Brad S says, a follow-up, I was wondering more specific areas, not states, as in where you would go for a vacation for casino, not casino. So Florida has Hard Rock, Gulfstream, Caesars Island, at least 10. What I would do is focus on a casino. Out of all the casinos that might be in an area, focus on one. When I walk, I've gotten to the point where I want you to get where I walk into a casino and I can see it. I was waiting in line talking to the security guard, seeing if I can, get a contract to record my play at Belterra Park. And I'm just kind of looking around and going, oh, that's a obviously highly visible machine. And that's a obviously highly visible machine. It's probably one of those two. And I go back to the conversation. I look back and, 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, and the slot attendant servicing a hand pay. Only one I saw in half an hour of walking through that casino. I'm just like, once you start looking, you can get good at it. The problem is sometimes the casinos are set up not to have anything, so none of the strategies work. So I would like to have an alternative casino to go to in case the first one I pick. I had somebody who was going to 3 different casinos in Louisiana, and they were learning what worked. But they weren't separating out what worked by casino. And one's a tribal casino and 2 are not. One's a racetrack with slot machines. And it was, I told them, you have to separate out what you learn at one casino, that it works there. You can check the other casinos to see if that also works at another casino, but it doesn't have to. People are focused on themselves. Well, I win at slots and I can go anywhere and win it. No. You win at a casino because you figured out how, or you do something that works at that casino, but not necessarily any other casino. So, you know, you need to find what works there and what you can do and what you get good at. So I would pick a casino and I stop at the one. I mean, I've had people say to me, if you could just come with me to my casino and show me how to win. And I'm like, instead of my going to my casino where I already have figured out how to win, and what? So I started thinking about having a business and helping that way. Questions. Okay. Okay. So, um, hmm, right. I think that is the questions are good. Okay. Let's. Uh, yeah, this is a good one. Let me talk about this tip. Thanks to everybody for making this a successful live stream. I can already tell we have more time left, but thanks so much. And there it is. Okay. Other slots players are aware of top winning strategies. I did not make up the 5-spin method as far as I can tell. It's at least from 73. I saw it in a Columbo episode. And I also saw it in the first season of The Twilight Zone. If will this ring a bell if I say Franklin? Anyway, that might have been the 5-pull method because he never walked away, so it's hard to tell. And but Columbo did, and that looked like the 5-pull method there, and that was 73. So other slots players are aware of winning strategies. They just don't talk about it with others. Usually, I say usually because they have contacted me, and they've gone, "Don't start sharing this," or they'll say, "I'm so glad I can finally have somebody to talk to about this." Uh, if you have a question, please use hashtag question because certainly you can make comments and have people in the community respond. Okay, so let me. Right. So this is helpful. I think if you, I skipped 4 because it's kind of like worded differently. Uh, not with the modern tech, not with the modern terms. There, I talked about older style slot machines, and these days it's really older style slot machines are in like um, uh, or riverboat casinos, and not always there. And it's funny. I saw MGM Grand Detroit when I was there a couple months ago, and they had put some of the older non-high limit slot machines that were just old real machines. I guess maybe they couldn't get rid of them. Maybe they still had a contract, and they put them in the high limit room. There was a dime denomination machine next to a $10 denomination machine. I'm like, talk about not caring about your high limit room. And that happens. And you should think about, if you see that sort of casino behavior, it's like going to a restaurant and having dirty bathrooms, dirty restrooms. It indicates an attitude that's meaningful. Is it the 3-second rule or the 5-second rule on that steak you just ate? Anyway, so 5, players should fully understand their gambling goals to be able to carefully focus on achieving them. If you don't know where you're going, you'll never know when you get there. That's another way of putting that. Right. So let me see if I am good on this. Oh, there is a question. Hey, Camilla. Nice to see you here. You've been coming to the last couple live streams. Want to order Winners Bank 200. Good reviews. Seems small. Advice? Yes, it is small. And that does hurt the process. Yeah, I moved my ones over there on the shelf down to my downstairs video studio. You'll see them when I start making videos in there shortly. At most, they hold 50 bills. And if you put in 100, that's $5,000. But they can jam at around, well, they can jam, at 20. And so if you start putting fives and you start putting 10s, 20s, 50s, it can fill up real fast. But you could get like 2 of them. Now, it's not practical for high limit players because it's just like, I can't reach it from here, but I have bands of $10,000. The bands that go around $10,000 of hundreds, and I collected them when I was doing high limits, and what am I even going to do? I remember taking $1,000 and folding it in half, and it's like 3 times the size of one of those boxes. But if you have a $300 bankroll and you use a large bill or convert it to some change to a large bill and stuff it in there, you can get some use out of it, and that's works for 75-80% of people. But it's completely impractical for other people because it's just even with 2 of them. But you can get something that fits in like a purse or something that fits in a backpack, which, as long as you show the guard what's in it. Poker players use backpacks all the time because they got to moisturize after 12 hours or whatever. And so, you can put it in a bag and you can get, lockable piggy banks and, cash box and all of that. And that's, that'll hold. Well, I won $40,000 when I won the car. I took the cash, as most people do, and they would only give me $20,000 in cash. So, no problem putting that into a tray, into a lockable cash box. Sure. Yep. Right. Winners Bank 2000. If I share this on my website, none of that is any good for here. Let me show you what that is. If you go to my website, it would be, let me share. Okay. Come on. You can do it. Right. So let me remove the comment. And this is my website, front page, the home page. Click on any article I put out today. Yesterday I put out a strategic plan to win on Washington unique slots. People in Washington want to know how to win, and it's loading up. I think I must be having a live stream or something. And so if you go to what's called a sidebar, if you go to the bottom of the sidebar, this is what they look like. So I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. Where is it? Make it a big picture so you can see it on your small screen. And there they are. So this has a slot in the top. It's the Winners Box 2000. This one is smaller and it has a smaller slot in the top. Both of them have keys that you leave at home. And the gamble box, you have to like elaborately fold each bill like 4 times in order to be able to fit through the slot. And this comes with a little hard card that you actually slide it in, and it's folded once, and it's just so much more convenient, and it's a little bit bigger. And that's why this. So I'd rather not go there. But if you go to any of my web pages, any of my web pages, and you go to the side, this is where you can find it. Right. And I will stop sharing that. There's rules about what I can share. I earn commissions as a Amazon affiliate, but that's only if I share the link. Yeah, you can take a Ziploc bag but it's not lockable. Yeah, and the bigger ones, if you have a purse or a backpack, if you get attacked, you can swing it, and it's like hitting somebody with a brick. Sorry, it's used to be funny. I don't see any other hashtag questions. That's a great feature, by the way. That way I can see you're all talking to each other. Get your questions in. There is another post here. I don't know. This might be so long that it doesn't all show up. I think it does show up good. Does it? Yes, it shows up as in YouTube as 2 comments. I will show it as 1 comment here. So when a player is at a high enough level, which means the tier levels, if their executive host is not on the casino premises, a non-executive host has been assigned to approach you immediately when the primary host is not available. And that way, did you know that if you have a host, it becomes pretty amazing, but it is still difficult to understand how to make the most of them. If you, like, for instance, I got a comment recently or an email or something where how do I make, it was a comment in Facebook, how do I make the most of my slot of my host? They ask me, is there anything you need? What do I say? And I tried to say, open up your mind to the possibilities. The casino has tickets to local sporting events. It might only be a few, but maybe if you asked, you would get them +1. And sporting events, if you'd have to be the top gambler in the casino to get like opening day tickets or top 5. But then, I got a bunch of tickets to, Cincinnati, to the baseball games, and once to a football game in the suite, which apparently is not how you see not how football fans see games. You have to clean the snow off your nosebleed section seat, and that's how true football fans see a football game. But I was in a heated room with big glass windows that would open, and we had plenty of free food and plenty of free drinks, and the shuttle from the casino was perfectly fine on the way there, but on the way home it was a drunk bus. and yes. So executive hosts, it's hard to use them. It's like suddenly finding yourself with a personal assistant. Good luck with that. We don't think that way, right? But you can ask for, skydiving tickets, something like that. It doesn't have to be limited to what's in the casino, because they don't limit it to what's in the casino. Alex says, question, how much money do you usually need to win a hand pay in high limit slots? Okay, so this is not how much might you win, but how much do you need? Okay. How much money do you need to win on your slot machines, your low limit slot machines? Okay. So if you play a penny machine and you make a 90-cent bet, minimum bet, well, not some machines is a minimum bet. Let's call it, you make $1 bet on a penny machine and you win $200. Does that seem typical? All right. Now, in a high limit room, you might play a $5 denomination 3 credit machine. So $15 instead of $1. A $1 bet on a penny machine to win $200. So multiply it by 15. So a $15 bet, how much would you win? 3,000. 15 times 200, 3,000. So if you want to hand pay for $3,000, you need to make $15 bets. And if you want to make $15 bets, you need 100. If it's going well, you need 100 to 120 bets. So, right? How many bets did it take you to win? So why am I hiding that? Okay, good. So I'm doing math in my head, but I got like several things I'm watching for. So I will make sure I'm right here, and say, if you are making $15 bets and you're making 120 $15 bets, then you need $1,800 minimum to win $3,000 on average between, for within 120 bets, which you may or may not do. I usually took 2,000, 2,500. And if I was right in the day and the time and using my strategies, then I would come home a winner. Sometimes I would not, and I would learn from that. Okay? Question. When you play your 5-spin technique, do you stop after a little taste doing the 5-spin, or yeah, anything that's non-zero? Yeah, I don't go all the way to 5 spins, because what you're trying to do is, the idea is you don't win anything after that win. You don't win anything after that first win. That's the idea. And so you're just wasting money if you keep playing up to 5. Now, see, this is if you're doing the 5-spin strategy, but when I talk to my slots enthusiasts growth network, and we on our Thursday meetings, which I'm have tonight in a couple hours, we talk about combining strategies. What if that machine that you win on, and I'm doing this when I go to a casino now, I check machine after machine after machine, and if I win, and I'm like, that was a big win, minimum bets, and it was like $50, $100, $200. And I'm like, I'm suspicious. I'm going to pause the 5-spin method. And I usually pull that money out and put a fresh 100 in. And I say, I'm going to invest in this machine and see if it's a winning machine. If I was just lucky, or if it's actually on a roll. So I'll pause the 5-spin method. Now, this is complicated, okay? Now I'm talking about switching off one strategy to try another strategy, because so many people have said, can I have my cake and eat it too? So this is advanced stuff, and that's what I do to assess a machine. When I go around playing the 5-spin strategy, I won so much on it that I'm like, wonder if this is possible that I might, and so I will do that just to check. And sometimes it's been a winning machine, and that's how I won. I look around as well. It's not just the, 2 strategies here. I look around and say, well, it's the only machine that's facing the cafe, or a place where people meet, or it's got a good presentation, a good view from all the table games, and they're looking right at me. I use multiple strategies. At this point, I can't help it. And maybe you'll get to that point too. If you learn each strategy individually, and it'll just come naturally where you start combining them. Tint de Black, any advice on winning a car? How does one become qualified? Oh no, my dog is lying on his toy, a little squeaky toy. Okay, so how do you win a car? Look at the game rules. See if you can find an advantage. It's it's pretty straightforward. I had they said when I won a car, they said they said we're going to have a drawing, and I'm like, so you're going to have a drawing? Do I get one entry? Oh no, you get one entry for every $100 you've spent in the last 3 months. How many $100 did I spend in the last 3 months? I don't have my spreadsheet in front of me. And they look at me and they say 120, no. Was it 127 or 217? Something like that, over 100 entries. And I'm like, that's pretty good. I should try that. And they had a drawing every half hour, and each drawing had 2 people that were drawn, so 4 people an hour. And what they didn't explain to me, and this is, you got to check the details, and even then they won't tell you everything. They call my name, and longer story to that. I have an article called "The Truth About Winning a Car," and I tell you all the details. It's also in my book, which comes free with a course. Anyway, they called my name and they had me walk up to a big wheel, and they said, "Spin it." And I'm like, "Hey, this hasn't been, there was no rules about what the heck, what are you?" And so I just spun the wheel. Turns out that I think James was asking me about my career. I do ultrasonic inspections. Most of the time it's not contact, it's underwater, and we use a turntable, a spinning turntable underwater. Sometimes I have to turn it by hand. So I'm professionally good at spinning a wheel, and not like in human speeds, but at speeds that I could attain with my own hands. And so they asked me to spin a wheel, and I said, "Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think, just do that." And all you had to do was, on a spinning wheel, sometimes they ask you to open suitcases and stick your hand in, pigeonholes. But on the spinning wheel, it doesn't take much to figure out how to, spin like 5 times, but end up on one half of the wheel, not the other half. And if you're really good, like me, then it might be 1/4 of the wheel, which had 4 slots in it. So I had a 1 in 4 chance of winning the car. And I did. 25%, a 25% chance of the odds is like for winning a car. It's worth trying. But if you have to pick a suitcase, or you have to do some other stuff where it's more random, I mean, nobody expects somebody to be able to turn a wheel professionally. Just lucky, I guess. And so, there's things that you can do sometimes. So read the rules and see if there's a way. And if you think there is, send me an email. And if you have the exact wording or whatever, and I'll review it for you as much as I can until I get, too many emails to answer those questions. Question: if you can't have your cake and eat it, what's the point? Never understood that one. I know. It's not. It's such an old saying. I think that the words have changed. Having your cake means you have it there and you can always take a picture with it. Isn't it beautiful over there? And then eating it means it's not over there. I'm old. So I remember how things used to be understood. Right. Can you wear earplugs in the casino since it's loud? Is there a rule against wearing things in your ears for security reasons? No, if you're sitting at a table game, then you might want to ask, but not in the slots area. They wouldn't want you to be communicating with anybody at a table game. But if you were to wear hearing protection that doesn't have a microphone in it, but so many people have Apple AirPods where it's noise cancellation, but it's also connected to your phone, so somebody could be talking to you. But then you have to be talking. It's check with your casino if you play table games, but otherwise, I don't see how that's possible to be a problem. And Sally, right on. Sally says, right on. P.S. I won my 10 grand on the end machine right next to the cafe. It only has to happen once for you to go, if I just did this regularly and occasionally I might win. Ray says, what you didn't put a hashtag, but whatever. What is odds on 8-5 jacks or better? You're asking a video poker question. And I would have referenced you to Bob Dancer. Now, video poker is not a slot machine in Nevada, technically, because of Nevada Revised Code Regulation 14.040, paragraph 5. And that's an important regulation, which no other state has. You're duplicating your questions. Ray. Julie, pertaining to my previous question, say you're playing with your 5-spin method, and on the third spin, you finally win 30 cents. Is that what you cash out? Play the minimum. Yeah. That's when you cash out and move to another machine. Anything. I've won 10 cents. I've won 2 cents. And I don't think it bodes well for making a profit at the end of 20 machines. And there have been times where I'm like, that's a lot of 10-cent wins for a 60-cent bet. And I will just like say, I'm not even going to go to 20 machines. And that's when you have to say, this time is not a time when this casino is offering up returns. And I might try it at a different time when it seems like more people are winning. But eventually I would say, that's it. Don't have it here. And tough love, right? Question, Linda, if someone was visiting a casino near you, would you do a live workshop if asked? I have, but not a workshop. It was kind of like a meetup, and I have to say they weren't very friendly. I mean, they were just like, well, your theory and this and that. And I'm just like, well, let's do the walkthrough, which kind of tired them out. And I explained, and they were like, willing to go along with it. This is entertaining. Okay. And then, I said, okay, we did the walkthrough. Now let's focus on what we learned, and we can sit down at this machine and see, I'm winning. And at that point, the person just looked at me like, it's not a theory. I'm like, you thought it was a theory? I mean, I learned this by doing it and looking for it in other casinos and doing it. And we're doing it right now. But let's go back to that other machine that we found that also had similar reasons why it should be a winner. And let's go see if that wins. And I'm pressing it and I'm making money. My bankroll's going up. My bankroll's going up. My bankroll's going up. And he's just like, it's not a theory. And I'm like, is this a serious conversation or not? Let me know when you get over your shock and so yeah, when I'm it looks like we got some great participation, Magpie. Please ask relevant questions, James. And we are doing well. I don't really have chats, seeing how things are going. But so that was wonderful. What a great live stream. Magpie 11 is right. It is great participation. This means I will proceed with having weekly Thursday meeting live streams. I also plan on having a Tuesday at 7 p.m. It might not be next week. It might be next week, just to see how my voice will last, because doing 2-hour live streams 3 times a week is fine. But I want to do that. So while I'm here, I will share, and you'll see this in the recording. My next live stream will be on Saturday at noon Eastern. In the meantime, watch this video on how to use my location strategy to win at your casino.